Welcome back to Rage. We're demystifying ideas about engineering today. We just found out how cutting-edge aeronautical engineering can be. Now we're gonna check out the other engineering courses in Singapore Polytechnic. Stay with us as we bust some myths about the engineering faculty.
I have with me here Dr. Rajneesh Gupta, who's Senior Lecturer of EE in Singapore Polytechnic. So, Dr. Rajneesh, what is EE about?
EE stands for Electrical and Electronic Engineering, and the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering is actually the largest engineering school in Singapore Polytechnic, and it is one of the oldest or the most established engineering school in Singapore. And in the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, currently we are offering 7 diploma courses.
Which of these courses are the most, the most prestigious, the hardest to get into, and is always oversubscribed?
Our aerospace-related courses are perhaps, I would say, the most difficult to get into. And our clean energy course, which was launched last year, was also quite popular.
In the hot seat with me this afternoon, I have the hunks on my left and the babes of EE. We're going to pose some difficult questions this afternoon. First of all, why on earth, among all the courses that you can choose in Singapore Poly or any other polytechnic, did you choose to come to Singapore Poly and EE on top of that?
I like the range of specialized we can choose, because in the first year we are taking generally, and second year have specialized, and third year specialized. So of course I'm staying very far, I'm staying at the east. So every day I need to travel for hours back and forth, but I find it's okay because as you all know that Singapore Poly is one of the best engineering courses around all the polytechnics.
Well, where do you hear that Singapore Poly is so good for engineering? Where do you hear it from?
Because I came from IT, CME, so we always in the class we will talk about what you want to go next. So all the lecturers recommend SP is a good school, it's well known for engineering. So
for me, when I was little, I'm quite confused about how the power come from, like where and why. Yeah, so I decided
just magically appears like, I switch on my light, I have power.
That's why I was so interested. That's why I joined this course.
Okay, so for you it was a thing about, wanting to know how things work and wanting to make things work yourself.
Yeah, correct.
I actually started since secondary school. My brother was studying in SP year 1 engineering as well. So I often look through his projects and work at home.
You often look through his
Then I realized that most of it involved in maths and physics. So as I'm a maths lover, so I intend to join engineering as my interest.
I wanted to do EE not so much because of the course, but actually it was because my ultimate ambition is to be a pilot. SP has this school that's a maritime academy where they train actually students to be ship captains. But in Singapore, I don't think there's any course that trains people to be a pilot captain, the air captain.
What's the lure of aerospace that attracts so many students to this course?
I think for one, Singapore is, I would say, an aerospace hub, and we have more than 100 companies in Singapore who are actually dealing with the aircraft maintenance and operations and so on. So job-wise, people are aware that aerospace is a very, very lucrative area. They will have no problems in finding a job. And the other thing I would think nowadays, the teenagers feel that aerospace is something, something to do with very fast, something trendy, fashionable. So perhaps some of the students have this impression that after doing this aerospace course they can become a pilot, but actually they cannot. We don't train students to become pilot. Of course,
to fly, right? Just
we don't,
electrical stuff.
But I think later on, if they really want to get into the profession of pilot, of course it will help them because they will probably know more about the aircraft as compared to their colleagues who are pilots.
The way that I see it is that being in an electrical engineering course will probably give me a step up ahead. And also because engineering, I've heard of people who have done engineering as a diploma course, and after that they go on to university, they can choose whatever they want. So I'm right now still not quite sure, so I decided to take engineering as my course.
For solar panel to work, the sun should actually fall directly, But these are all fixed solar panels. I mean, they will always be like this, and they will they are at an angle of 30 degrees. Okay, for Singapore, because it is very close to the equator, the best direction of the solar panel will be at an angle of 30 degrees. Okay, so we have all these solar panels mounted here, and they are generating about 20 kilowatts of electricity. Okay, 20 kilowatts of electricity. Now, one bulb actually is you may have a bulb of about 40 watts.
Clean energy. It's pretty new, right? How new is it?
Clean energy course was launched last year, and we were the first Polytechnic to launch this course, not only in Singapore, but I would say around Southeast Asia. And we are quite strong. We feel that we are very strong in the area of clean energy, because we started work in the area of clean energy almost 15 years back. So I think last year, when the government announced that Singapore is going in the direction of clean energy and they want Singapore to be one of the clean energy hubs, I think it was very timely that we launched this course last year.
Was it in direct response to the needs of the industry, or was this like brewing in the pipeline for Singapore Poly way before that?
I think all our courses are in response to the industry needs actually in Singapore, and especially in particular this clean energy course, because it was also we had some discussion with the EDB, because at that time last year EDB was planning to bring in some of the industries, so they had a better idea of what kind of industries will be there in Singapore, and they had actually given us some kind of feedback what we should be putting into our courses, our clean energy course.
What are some examples of that? What are some of the modules or topics that you cover in clean energy?
Okay, in clean energy course, perhaps we are actually focusing mainly on solar energy, because most of the companies, I shouldn't say all the companies, but most of the companies which are coming to Singapore, they are focusing in solar energy, and particularly in manufacturing of solar cells. So in our clean energy course, we will be teaching students how the solar cells are manufactured, how they are integrated to the power grid. And in addition to solar energy, we will also be talking about wind energy, biomass and fuel cells.
Engineering is a skill. So once I've mastered the skill, I think that I can go very far in life. And because we can't just take engineering anywhere, like all the private schools, they offer only business course. So I think like if we have the basic concept of engineering, we will be able to do everything in life.
Singapore Poly has got a new diploma launching next year, which is engineering combined with business. It's quite an interesting combination. I understand some people like to go for like business studies after they finish a pure EEE sort of course. But this diploma sort of like sums it up for them. Is that right? Can you tell me more about this new course?
Yeah, this new course, the name of this new course is called Diploma in Engineering with Business. And the whole reason why we are actually coming out with this kind of diploma course, which is again first in Singapore, is because we got feedback from the industry that they need people with this dual qualification. They want engineers, they want businessmen actually together. So what we have done is we have actually combined these two disciplines, engineering and business, in one course which is called Engineering with Business. And we feel that the graduates of this course perhaps will be very useful for the industry.
You like to deal with electronics and hands-on stuff like that?
Yeah, I love electrical. I love the circuits, and I love to solve the circuit.
Guys, do you think that that's an unusual thing? You hear girls say, I love power, I like hands-on stuff, I like maths, and I like, electrical stuff. Do you think that's a strange thing to be hearing from a girl?
I think it's okay actually, because everybody has their own interests.
Okay, let's be frank here. We know that engineering is, stereotyped as boring, as all the stereotypes associated with engineering. Tell me, is that a myth? Is that a fact?
In fact, I think it's not really a fact that engineering is boring. In fact, it is one of the most creative areas, I would say. And recently we had done a survey, and even people think that it is a very creative area, and you can come out with new ideas, new products, and so on. In particular, as you just talked about clean energy, we feel that clean energy is a relatively new area. And there is a lot to be done in this area of clean energy. There are so many problems which people are facing right now about the cost of solar cell, how to reduce the cost, how to make it more efficient, how to use it in a in a smaller, like right now we have to actually when we use it, we require a huge area actually. So how to actually make it more condensed? So there are a lot of problems which needs to be solved, and there is a lot of scope for the students to do research in this area and come out with this kind of solutions. So it is actually exciting, I would say.
So it's an industry where a lot of breakthroughs are still yet to be made.
Right, correct. Yeah.
So do you expect your Singapore Poly students to be making such breakthroughs?
Oh, definitely, because all the students have to do a final year project, and these projects could be also like research projects in addition to making something and so on. So we feel that perhaps the students can really look into some of these problems which industry is facing, and they can probably solve some of these problems.
Well, I didn't know that there was so much exciting stuff in engineering, especially not when there are so many stereotypes of engineering being boring, male-dominated, etc., etc. Well, with exciting stuff like this, like the Super Skyhawk over here, and things that you have found out today, well, I hope they've cleared up some stuff about engineering that we all didn't know about. This has been Rage.